Hi, this is Ed from Exotic Blanks. Wishing you all a happy Easter. This happens to be the day before Easter Day. And I thought to show something a little unusual. I'd make an Easter egg kaleidoscope. I made a lot of these when we did shows because they were very popular. But essentially all it is a good-sized piece of wood. It's 2 inches, and if it's 2 1/4 or 2 1/2, it's better. But this one is 2 inches square, and then the dimension from here to here is 2 1/4 inches. The kit that I'm going to be using, because I have it, is this one right here. It's from Penn State. They call it the KSEG-CH. It's chrome, that's why the CH. What they tell you to do is, first of all, drill a hole through this, which is 13/16 in diameter. They tell you to use a Forstner bit. I didn't have one. So instead I used a spade bit, and it worked fine. I have a nice clean hole through here. Actually, we can show you that just so you see what we're dealing with. 13/16 hole, and you have no tube in it or anything. You're just using it on their bushings, and I put that on the PSI mandrel system, which is basically two. You can see this. It's a pin sticks out on each end like that, and then you put your bushings on there. This again has no tube in it, but it's the right size to fit onto those bushings. And then all we need to do is turn it to look like an egg. As I say, I made an awful lot of these when we did shows. I haven't made one in probably 10 years. So it'll be interesting to see how this turns out. You want to make sure that you don't hit the tool rest. Okay, and something else I haven't used in a very long time is the roughing gouge. We'll see if I still remember how. Safety glasses, and we'll start turning. Okay, we have a circle, I believe. I don't think there's any flat spots anymore. Nope, no flats. Now all we're going to do is turn it into the shape of an egg. Your high point on an egg is just off of center, so you can go either direction. But high point's going to be about here, and then it's going to taper down on that side and taper down much more rapidly on this side. So let's go about doing that. Okay, that's the shape we want. Now I just have to taper it down to the 2 bushings. I believe to do that I'm going to use a smaller tool. I didn't sharpen this one or anything for this, so we'll see. I may have to stop and sharpen it. We'll see what it does. But to get in here, I'd like a little smaller tool. Sounds like I'm going to have a, well, I got fairly lucky. It's chomped a little bit, but not bad. The moral of the story is don't go uphill. Okay, that looks good for that side. Now we just need to get it down on this side. When you're going downhill like this particular tool, I don't know if you can see it on there, is cut with kind of a flat along there. What I'm doing is using that flat very much like a skew, where you take that and just move along this and follow the contour of the curve and hold on to the tool rather tight, because if it decides to catch, you want to try to make sure that you don't let it catch too bad and ruin your blank. But there we are. It's done. It needs a little softening right here. Let's bring that contour around. There we go. That looks nice. Again, don't go uphill. You're asking for trouble. You may get away with it, but you're asking for trouble if you try to turn uphill on a blank like this. That's what it looks like. Now we're going to sand it. I will have to take a break because I have to find sandpaper, but I'll be back. Okay, we're going to do a quick sanding here. That was 240. This is 400. As you can see, it's starting to get a kind of nice shine to it. That looks pretty good. Now we need to dream up a finish for it. So give me a few minutes to see what we have in the shop, and we'll finish it. Okay, now all we have to do is finish it. When I made these for shows, GluBoost wasn't around. There was nobody was using CA as a finish, any CA. So now, as long as we have it, let's try doing a nice GluBoost finish on it. Should turn out to be really nice and shiny. So we just take some of the medium GluBoost. I am highly likely to glue these bushings to the blank. There's no other way to drive it. So what I'm going to do is turn this off for a moment and take off the non-drive side . And take off the piece that's on there, replace it with one of these, and put that in there, and now at least that side will stay. We'll see if that'll work. Ideally, I won't get stuck to anything here. Now back to finishing. That was enough time that, of course, that first coat of GluBoost has dried already, and we can put in the second coat. I usually use about 4 coats, so we'll see how that all turns out. You can see it's gotten really shiny. And on our second coat, after it spins for a couple of seconds, isn't a bad idea to shoot it a little bit with the accelerator. And that's nice and dry. And now we'll put another coat of the medium on, and then finish with a coat of the thin. That's the orange bottle, and that's your final coat. Okay, now I like to let that cure for a little while and then come back and do a final sanding and buff it. So for the time being, I'll turn this off so you can see what we got so far. It's a pretty good looking egg, and we'll be back in a little while to sand and buff. Okay, the GluBoost has dried, so I've sanded it at 600 grit a little bit just to make it smooth, and then buffed it, and this is what we have. And now we'll put the insides into it and go through what you need to know about making a kaleidoscope. But that's what it'll look like. Okay, so we've made the egg. Now we have to assemble the pieces into the kaleidoscope. I've taken them out of the little baggies so that we're a little bit faster, but this is not a fast process. The first thing you need to do, I'll go from their instructions just so that you can follow along if you like. It tells you to install the lens in the viewing cap. Now this is the lens, and this is the viewing cap. You can tell, oh, this is the viewing cap. You can tell because obviously it's got the hole in it. The lens has a right side and a wrong side. You can feel that it is convex. So if you put it into here, you put it in with the convex side down. And then there's a retaining spring that goes in as well. This is the retaining spring. You may need a device to do this. A small screwdriver can be extremely helpful. Okay, to put the spring clip in there, I used this tiny screwdriver, and I was able to hold on to one side and get the spring clip in with the screwdriver. Again, be very careful because you don't want to scratch the part of that lens that is going to be visible. You can only see the little bit that's coming through that hole, but don't scratch that part. Okay, then we take this end and we put the one of these clear pieces of glass. Anytime that you're working with anything in a kaleidoscope, get the dust off before you put it together, because it will show. Put that in, and then put the white plastic piece in there, which is your chamber for your items. Then put the items in. They call them gems. Call them whatever you want to. And then put the last piece over the top of it, the last piece of glass. And now that you want to screw together using the threaded pipe. And now you have that half of your kaleidoscope assembled. Now the next thing you need to do is put the mirrors in. Now when you're dealing with kaleidoscopes, you have what they call front surface mirrors. When you're working at home and you have your mirror in your bathroom, you have a reflective surface, and over the top of that reflective surface there's a piece of glass. So what you're looking at when you look at the reflection is actually going through the piece of glass. Well, when you're dealing with a kaleidoscope, they don't want that depth. They want everything to be very precise and the image to be nice and clear. So instead they use front surface glass, or front surface mirror, which basically means that they've put the mirror on the front of the material, not the back. So you want to clean that off best you can. I'm using a microfiber towel, and I'm not thrilled with what I'm getting here. Bear in mind that these are not top quality, obviously, but they are good enough. You'll get a nice image out of them. I got lots of nice images out of them, although I did replace many of these with better mirror when I was doing this, but these are okay for people to just walk by your booth and play with them. What you want to do then is turn these into a triangle. Put it in like that. Put the next one in like that. And the third and last one in like this. And slide them all in together as much as you can so that they don't scratch one another. Okay, now we have it in there the way it's supposed to be in there. But before you put this other end on, take a Sharpie and just blacken the end of that glass. Just like that. Give it a few seconds to dry, or minutes, or whatever. Now your kaleidoscope, you can make these either way. You can make it so that this is the, where am I here? Okay. You can make it so that this is the eyepiece, or so that that is the eyepiece. I always made it so that the front end of the egg and the back end was the image chamber. So I'll do that again. Just put this in like so, and then take your eyepiece and screw it on. Don't use any kind of a pliers or anything on this, because you will mar those those chrome pieces. But there you go. That's the way it will look. It's completed. And when I did shows, I did this this kind of a kaleidoscope, I called them, and that was in around the year 2000. I sold them for $35 a piece, and I sold a lot of them. I also used it as a come-on, essentially, because we would put a whole batch of them out in front of the booth on a little table. It was only 18 inches by 18 inches, but it was tall enough that people could see it and walk by it and so forth. Children frequently picked these things up and started playing with it, and then their parents would come by, and I didn't sell a lot of them to kids, but I sold a lot of them to the parents who were looking for something that they could do, you know, have in their house for guests and so forth. That's all there is to it. We used to call them kaleidoscopes, and they are eggs that are kaleidoscopes and would be extremely seasonal for the Easter season. This is Ed from Exotic Blanks. If you've learned anything, I appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. Obviously, a thumbs up is always good for us. But one way or another, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy making all kinds of eggs. Have a good day. Bye now.